Good morning, students. Today we are going to start second part of the chapter water, and in this video we'll discuss about distribution of water bodies. So let's start. We all know that 3/4 of the earth's surface is covered by water. Now see this pie chart. Earth's land 29.2% of total area on the earth, and earth's water 70.8% of total area of earth. So we can see, if there is more water than land on this earth, why do so many countries face water scarcity? Is all the water on earth available to us? The following pie chart gives the distribution of water in percentage. For example, here the blue part of this pie chart of this circle, oceans, means the total volume of water. Out of that, 97% is found in oceans. Polar ice, 2% is found in the ice form on the glaciers, and 1% is found in rivers, lakes and groundwater. Now see this table. Oceans 97.3%. It is completely saline water, we cannot use. Ice caps 02.0. Groundwater 0.68. Freshwater lakes 0.009%. Inland seas and salt lakes 0.009%. Atmosphere 0.0019, and rivers 0.0001. This is completely fresh water. So in this way we can say that the water that is drinkable, that's availability is very less. So water distribution can be demonstrated by a simple activity. You can easily do this activity. Salinity is the amount of salt in grams present in 1000 grams of water. The average salinity of the oceans is 35 parts of per thousand water. Dead Sea, you can see this picture. Dead Sea in Israel has salinity of 340 grams per liter of water. Swimmers can float in it because the increased salt content makes it dense. So this was the distribution of water. Do you know 22nd March is celebrated as World Water Day, when the need to conserve water is reinforced in different ways. So dear students, we should not waste water, because only 1% of total volume of water present on earth is available for us for drinking. Rest of the water is not available for us, because 97% of this is completely saline water. So there is salinity, so we cannot drink that water, we cannot use. And 2% is out of access for human beings. So in this way we have to be aware to conserve water. So, and for this purpose, Water Day, World Water Day is celebrated. Next topic, ocean circulation. There is something magical about walking bare feet on the seashore. The wet sand on the beach, the cool breeze, the seabirds, the smell of the salt in the air and music of the waves. Everything is so fascinating. Unlike the calm waters of ponds and lakes, ocean water keeps moving continuously. It is never still. The movements that occur in oceans can be broadly categorized as waves, tides and currents. So in this way we have come to know that due to the movement in the water of ocean or seas, three kinds of movements known as different names: waves, tides and currents. So now we'll study about these in detail. This is the picture of Pacific Ocean. You can see Pacific Ocean. In the previous video we discussed about the oceans and the main rivers, the main lakes of the world we discussed with the help of the map of world. What are waves? Waves are formed when winds scrape across the ocean surface. The stronger the wind blows, the bigger the wave becomes. Clear? So now let's discuss in detail waves. When you are playing throw ball on the beach and the ball falls into the water, what happens? It is fun to watch how the ball gets washed back to the shore by the waves. When the water on the surface of the ocean rises and falls alternately, they are called waves. So in this way you can see this picture, waves. During a storm, the winds blowing at very high speed form huge waves. These may cause tremendous destruction. An earthquake, volcanic eruption, or underwater landslides can shift large amounts of ocean water. As a result, a huge tidal wave called tsunami. So what is tsunami? These are the huge tidal waves, clear, called tsunami, that may be as high as 15 meters is formed. The largest tsunami ever measured was 150 meters high. These waves travel at a speed of more than 700 km per hour. It means very fastly. The tsunami of 2004 caused widespread damage in the coastal areas of India. The Indira Point, it is the southernmost tip of India. Indira Point in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands got submerged after the tsunami. I am telling you, Indira Point is located at 6 degree 4 minute northern latitude. 6 degree 4 minute northern latitude, and but now it is completely submerged in the water. Indira Point, it is the southernmost tip of India. Now we'll study about tsunami, the earth's pandemonium. Tsunami, or the harbor wave, struck havoc in the Indian Ocean on 26th December 2004. What is tsunami? As we have discussed, tsunami, it's a Japanese word and it's mean harbor waves, as the harbors get destroyed whenever there is tsunami. So it is the name on harbor waves, and it is Japanese word tsunami. The wave was the result of the earthquake that had its epicenter close to the western boundary of Sumatra. Sumatra is in Indonesia. It is an island. The magnitude of the earthquake was 9.0 on the Richter scale. It was very high. As the Indian plate went under the Burma plate, there was a sudden movement of the sea floor causing the earthquake. The ocean floor was displaced by about 10 to 20 meters and tilted in a downwardly direction. A huge mass of ocean water flowed to fill in the gap that was being created by the displacement. This marked the withdrawal of the water mass from the coastline of the land masses in the South and Southeast Asia. After thrusting of the Indian plate below the Burma plate, the water mass rushed back towards the coastline. Tsunami traveled at a speed of about 800 km per hour, comparably to speed of commercial aircraft, and completely washed away some of the islands in the Indian Ocean. The Indira Point, as we have discussed before a short while, in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, that marked the southernmost point of India, got completely submerged. As the wave moved from earthquake epicenters from Sumatra towards the Andaman Islands and Sri Lanka, the wavelength decreased with decreasing depth of water. The travel speed also declined from 700 to 900 km per hour to less than 70 km per hour. Tsunami waves traveled up to a depth of 3 km from the coast, killing more than 10,000 people and affected more than lakh of houses. In India, The worst affected were the coastal areas of, see in the map, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, and the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. While the earthquake cannot be predicted in advance, it is possible to give a 3-hour notice of a potential tsunami. Such early warning systems are in place across the Pacific Ocean but not in the Indian Ocean. Tsunamis are rare in the Indian Ocean as the seismic activity is less as compared to the Pacific. The tsunami that ravaged the South and Southeast Asian coast in December 2004 is the most devastating tsunami in the last several hundred years. The large damage caused to life and property was primarily a result of lack of monitoring, the early warning systems and knowledge among the coast dwellers of Indian Ocean. The first indication that tsunami is approaching is the rapid withdrawal of water from the coastal region, followed by destructive wave. When this happened on the coast, instead of people going to high ground, they started assembling at the coast to view the miracle. As a consequence, there was a large casualty of curious onlookers when the gigantic wave, means tsunami, struck. So dear students, this was about waves, special wave, tsunami, and its impact or destruction. In the next video, we'll discuss about the rest of the topics of this chapter. Thank you. Have a nice day.